Being the birthplace of many international superstars, Premiership Rugby Academies play a key role in the progression of many players within the country. While some choose different pathways to the pro game, the majority of top players within the sport would have come through an academy pathway attributed to a Premiership club. But which one of these 14, yes 14 academies, are the best? An incredibly tough question, but just to get me a load of grief on social media, I'll be ranking all of them in order from worst to best in this video based on alumni, coaching, facilities and current form. So without further ado, I'm Stace from Young Rugby, and here are the best Premiership Rugby Academies ranked. Number 14, Yorkshire Rugby Academy. Whilst rugby union is slightly less popular in the north than it is in the south, the lack of professional clubs now running north of Manchester are frighteningly low. Sale Sharks and Newcastle Falcons are two better known academies that cover the majority of the area. However, Yorkshire Rugby Academy, who are aligned with now League One team Leicester Tigers, formerly known as Yorkshire Carnegie, now holds a stake in West Yorkshire. The fact that Yorkshire Rugby Academy doesn't currently hold affiliation with a Premiership club immediately sets them apart from the rest of academies, showing no real confirmed progression into the professional game. However, that doesn't mean it can't be done, as shown by one of their most recent alumni, Dan Lancaster, who came through their academy before moving over to Leicester Tigers after an impressive Six Nations Under-20 campaign with England. As for current form, Yorkshire lost out in a 13th-14th place playoff on finals day at Six Ways to Gloucester, making them the least successful academy in the tournament. Although their place and location offer regional rugby to those who may not have had access to it before, Yorkshire do finish last in these rankings. Number 13, Worcester Warriors. This midfield is incredibly difficult to rank, as the following half dozen teams have redeeming qualities to them. Warriors have a clear pathway into their first team, with players such as Finn Smith, Seb Atkinson, Ted Hill and Ollie Lawrence coming through in recent years, to name just a couple. Hill being a standout now captaining the side at 23 years old at the time of recording. However, despite bringing through a plethora of young talent, what can't be overlooked is their place in the table. Usually hanging around the bottom 2 or 3 in the Premiership in the last few years, similarly looking at their most recent crop of young players who finished 12th in the 2021-22 Under-18 season. With the introduction of Steve Diamond, who managed to bleed through players like the Currys, Quirk and Reed at Sale, hopefully he can blend young talent with well-chosen players in their prime to make Worcester a more competitive team and therefore a more competitive academy. Number 12, Bath. The concentration of West Country academies is startling. Bath, Gloucester and Worcester all around the same area create hot competition for those players in the area. Bath are a tricky concept for me. In a similar vein to Worcester, they have a strong production line of young talent. Ojimo, Bailey, Stewart, Ellis, Bayliss and Reed to name but a few. Also, similarly to the Warriors, their performances this season have been woeful, currently sitting rock bottom of the Premiership, and would have been relegated to the Championship if it wasn't for ring fencing. But that's a conversation for another video. What separates them from the Warriors, though, is the future. The current Under-18 side placed 5th in last season's competition, with some standout stars including Millfield's Sam Harris, Sherburn School's Arthur Green. Bath's future is in very safe hands. Number 11, Newcastle. A team that prides itself on nurturing homegrown talent rather than bringing in big marquee players from elsewhere in the senior team, Newcastle Falcons have always shown a strong academy. Players like Radwan, Stevens, McGuigan, Lockwood and Hayden Woods in recent years pushing into the first team, and some into higher honours. Such trust in local talent, however, rather than spending big, has had its effect on the overall performance of the squad. Currently sitting 11th this year and finishing 10th last year after their promotion back into the Premiership. In a similar vein to Bath, although their first team may be slightly underperforming, the youngsters finished 6th in this Under-18 campaign, with England Under-18 stars such as Ben Douglas, Luke Colston and Mickey Rewcastle. The fact that they are doing this on such a smaller budget than the likes of Bath does make their efforts a little bit more impressive. Number 10, Wasps. Another team that has recently blooded through some youngsters into their main squad. The fly half role springs to mind. Atkinson and Umanga, coming through in recent years under the strong tutelage of Jimmy Gopperth, and Will Porter and Sam Wolstenholme, breaking through at 9. The big names is, of course, Alfie Barbary, making headlines and big holes in Premiership defences in his fast track through the rugby ranks, being placed in multiple England camps but at the time of recording, still yet without an international cap. Finishing 7th last year in Prem Rugby Under-18s League, yet bringing through some impressive names that have featured heavily in a recent Under-18 and Under-20 international competitions. Will Gloucester, Alfie Bell, Kofi Cripps, Rob Hardrick and Epi Rukadrava, all having received England honours in the past few months. This alongside the development of their fantastic new training facilities, which will be used by the academy as well as the senior squad, brings real excitement to what Wasps could do in the near future. Number 9. Saracens. This may be a slightly controversial one. Saracens have been synonymous with their academy outcomes in the recent years, producing some of the best players in the world at the moment. Itoje, Farrell, Vunipola family, Mallins, Earl, Christie, just to name very few. Arguably some of the best homegrown talent producers in the English game during the past 10 years. So how come they only rank 9th? Their current under-18 finished 9th during the 21-22 season, and were the only team not to be represented in the England under-18 Six Nations squad this year. Sure, their recent alumni are strong, but the lack of standout talent in their current crop is a major worry for things to come at the Stone X, meaning they rank 9th for now. Number 8. Irish. These next few were particularly tricky to rank as the stories of these teams are fairly similar. Although they haven't managed to retain many, London Irish's academy alumni boast some big name players. Anthony Watson, Jonathan Joseph, Joe Thognasina, Jack and Tom Willis, the list goes on. The big caveat here though is that none of the above really got to implement themselves as big name players in the Irish setup. In contrast, more recent stars like Hassel Collins, Arundel, Parton, Loader and Pearson are all breaking through into the senior squad and are currently mainstays in the Irish 23. Their recent academy form has also been somewhat strong. 2 seasons ago sharing the title with Leicester Tigers, however this campaign they finished in 11th. Players such as Ollie Allen, Rory Taylor, Connor Cross, Monty Bradbury and Jack Walsh all getting England caps in the recent international fixtures, with lots more to come from the likes of Will Joseph and Phil Thognasina, who was just starting their club journeys after some impressive age grade international stints. Number 7. Exeter. The team that pretty much controls the capture for any players across the southwest, it seemed fairly obvious that Exeter would become a strong academy team after their place in the Premiership was cemented. The Simmons brothers are the obvious choice. Harvey Skinner, Richard Capstick, Christ Windsor also impressing when given the chance. The Maunder brothers also incredibly underrated, as is Tom Hendrickson, who has filled in nicely for the absence of injured Devoto. Their current team aren't looking too bad either, finishing 8th in this year's under-18 competition, but what stands out for me is their close affiliation with Exeter University, where academy players like Dan John and Arthur Relton have been flying high in the Bucks Super Rugby games. Now I know Exeter aren't the only side to partner up with a nearby uni, but I feel that this partnership is working very well and boosts their ranking in this list. Number 6. Sale. Despite their influx of South Africans in the senior squad, you can't take away the efforts from the academy teams in recent years, producing the likes of Erwin Ashman, Rafiq Quirk, the Curry brothers and Aaron Reid to name a few. But what impresses me the most is their future talent, their strong relation with Kirkham Grammar, who themselves have had a strong school season. 7 of their 11 academy graduates in the most recent selection of players all coming from Kirkham, including the likes of Patrice Bell, Yande Nkonge, Charlie Wardle and Tristan Woodman, who have all later gone on to get international honours this season. Hopefully, we are seeing a shift towards utilising local talent, rather than importing abroad for the Manchester side. Number 5. Gloucester. Another team that is heavily linked with a college and university in Hartpury, which massively increases their ranking on this list. Although this season may not have gone to plan, finishing 13th in the table, what can't be overlooked is the sheer amount of academy products they have produced alongside Hartpury. Randall, Hill and Genge all coming through Hartpury without putting on the cherry and white shirt. Lutri Samet, Jake Pelledri, George Barton, Jack Clement and Stephen Varney are some of the bigger names that have played for the senior team. But what impresses me the most is not only their sheer volume of talent they have managed to retain. In their recent Prem Rugby Cup semi-final, they were able to boast a 23 featuring 20 Gloucester Rugby Academy graduates, showing just how strong and future-proof this side is. Number 4. Quins. 4th in this list and 4th in this year's Prem Rugby Under-18 League, Harlequins Academy has gone from strength to strength in recent years. Marcus Smith, obviously their biggest name to recently graduate from the setup, but players like Jack Kenningham, Hugh Chizard, Lewis Liner, Cadam Murley mustn't go amiss. The current academy pool has also boasts some future superstars, some who have already been able to make a name for themselves, are players like Jamie Benson, Cassius Cleves, Sam Riley, but players like Johnny Smith, Josh Bellamy, Zach Carr and Connor Bryan are all in my eyes will be future household names if Quins use them right. A really exciting time for the London-based side. Number 3. Bristol. It may come as a surprise that the most recent winners of the Prem Rugby Under-18 League come third in these rankings. Sure, their most recent campaign has been very impressive, and the likes of Worsley, Hallowell, Lacey and Sims will for sure make their mark on the senior squad. However, looking at their current side, which has had some success in the Premiership as of late, there aren't that many standout academy graduates. Looking at their semi-final team for the 2021 season, 5 of their 23 coming through the academy, usually picking up players from championship clubs or elsewhere then bringing them up later on. A few standout names though: Sheedy, Urin and Genge, who is returning to Ashton Gate next season, all coming through the academy ranks, but they don't beat these next 2 teams. Number 2. Northampton. I've switched these top 2 round again and again and will most likely want to change my decision after this recording, but for now I'm putting Northampton second. Falling short in the final this season after losing out to Bristol from a tight 8-point margin. That shouldn't however take away from the dominant display they exhibited in the North bracket of the league. Some standout names include Toby Cousins, Callum Smith, Jody Devine, Nick Tarr and Craig Wright. Joe Gaffan, who was sidelined this season due to a knee injury, is also a name for the future. As well as having a strong setup currently, their recent academy prospects have settled really well into both club and country honours. Lewis Ludlam, George Furbank, Razor Dingwall, Tom Collins and the Grayson brothers. The list really goes on. A backline of former Saints Academy players isn't unachievable for Boyd, and they have got close to putting out that sort of squad. The team to play Harlequins only featured Matt Proctor as an outsider to this role. Adding on to the fact that this team is pushing for a top 4 place this season, off the back of these key players makes this academy look all the better. Number 1. Leicester Tigers. It seems as though Tigers have been at the top of this list for many years now. Their dominance in the academy scene has spanned over decades, with consistent competitive teams fielded, most of which translating into future first teamers and internationals. The academy has produced more than 100 age-grade internationals, as well as British and Irish Lions caps: Tom Croft, Dan Cole, Harry Ellis, Ollie Smith, Manu Tuolangi, and Ben and Tom Youngs. This not including their most recent crop such as Freddie Stewart, Jack Van Portfleet and Tommy Reffel. Their under-18 side sharing the title with London Irish last year and placing third in the most recent campaign also shows their current form. Morgan Meredith, George Luce, Joe Woodward and Finn Kahondov, all standing out in the season. Alongside excellent facilities and top-class coaches, the table toppers of the Premiership of all-time recording are also one of the leading forces in helping produce the future Prem Rugby stars. Well, there you go. A difficult list which I'm sure a lot will disagree with. Let us know down below your thoughts and what we should rank next. Subscribe for loads more content coming your way this summer, and we will catch you soon on Young Rugby. It's certainly safe to say that the future of English rugby is in very good hands.